Hi guys, we're
Recording
back.
in progress.
Yeah, we're back. How are you, bro?
Excellent.
Great response to yesterday's video, and some of the comments again were just amazing. When I woke up this morning, I don't know why I didn't think of this yesterday, but when I woke up this morning, it was so blatantly obvious that when we did this presentation yesterday, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? And then we looked at that in the male and then the hermaphrodite, but it's not. It's the son of the morning, the sun. Yeah.
That's right.
I don't know why I didn't pick up on that, but one, I can't remember who it was, and I'm really, really sorry, guys. But one of our awesome subs suggested that we go and look at this guy's channel. Let me just share this with you. Decode Your Reality. I just jumped in. Some of his videos are quite long. I just jumped onto this one, number 4, and he's talking about exactly the same kind of things that we're talking about. He explains the numbers, the 322, the 666, the whole boot and dice. So guys, go over and show him some love. Decode Your Reality is the name of the channel, and just have a look at what videos he's put up. Absolutely great, absolutely amazing stuff. You haven't looked
Yeah,
at
I
it
can't.
yet,
I'm,
have
I'm
you?
gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go check that out.
He also talks about wherever we are right now is where we're supposed to be. In other words, that our whole life is scripted. A lot of people over on Free to Find Truth, and I've been talking about the Euro 2020, which of course is in 2021, and how England is going to win. They had to beat Denmark, which they did yesterday, and people were even correctly predicting the score 2-1. So now it's Italy and England in the final, and let's just wait and see. But everything's pointing to England winning, and if that's the case, then it's 100% proven that this is it's all a script. Crazy. So
Yeah.
what we're going to get into today, guys, is Harry's presentation that we wanted to kind of tie in with what we did yesterday. So do you want to I might have to make you the host, Harry,
All
um,
right.
so you can present that. Let's just hope there we go, make host. Do you want to change the host to Harry? Yes. Okay. All right. So you are
All
now the
right.
host, bro. So you can share your screen.
All right.
We had some crazy problems connecting today, didn't we, bro? Connecting with
Yeah,
Zoom.
it's like we're not doing this for the first time, but we've had problems that we've never had before.
Absolutely. Mm.
So,
All right.
all right.
So take it away.
The name of the presentation, I did talk to, I did mention in the past that we were going to do something related to the Queen, and we were going to associate it with possibly with chess, but there was so much information on queens, and so I kind of had to minimize a little bit of the depth of this, but it's not going to slow anyone down from going in and just look up stuff for yourself too, because there's a lot of information, some of it contradictory, some of it, I don't know if I believe it all, but it's pretty much an eye opener. So we'll start with the first screen here. It says the Queen is a wife, and the emphasis is on iron, Fe.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is she is the stronger of the two royals. I say the Fe, the female ruler, is the famed Iron Maiden, or if you want to break down the word of the or de, AI men. I don't know. That's just a breakdown that I thought was kind of interesting.
Oh, okay. Maiden. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking at one of the most famous queens, Bloody Mary, and some of the backstory on her trials of trying to be a queen. So we know that it's been told to us, again, I don't know how real everything is, but the backstory is Mary Tudor is said to have become an illegitimate daughter of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. Since Catherine was married to Henry's late brother, then that would make Mary illegitimate. So he then he marries Anne Boleyn, and their son, which is named Edward, decides to remove her from any possibility of the throne. But conveniently he dies. we know how things like that happen. He was suicided probably, and she then resumes to be the Queen Mary that they talk about. But so, can you say coup d'état?
Probably, yeah.
So she was pretty much famous for liking a decentralized government and Catholicism. Those were her two passions.
Yeah.
So killing Protestants and her half sister Elizabeth. Oh, no, she didn't kill her, but battling the Protestants and her half sister Elizabeth, she experienced then a phantom pregnancy, which she'd never had a son. And it seemed like her reign really was pretty much a failure. But was it her failure? Or was it her husband's failure? Or was it really just the fact that maybe she could never have a kid? What I'm trying to kind of insinuate is, are these queens female? Could it be that they're something else? And that's where the fail happens. This unfortunate creation can't seem to get it right. And she's only famous because she killed so many Protestants, 300 Protestants or something like that. So let's move on to the letter Q, how it originates. The letter Q is kind of curious. It's a questionable letter to begin with. It makes a C or a K sound and always needs a helper. The U has to follow the Q. It's kind of almost how a queen always stands next to an unintended ruler, that king perhaps, or is the queen the undercover ruler, really the one in control?
That's interesting where you say that the U follows the Q, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no reasonable explanation why a U has to follow a Q in any written word that begins with Q. So, but the U is following the Q. The you are following the queen.
Yeah, you are following her. And, the U is kind of like a magnet, right? We always look at the magnet. So there's something there. So Q originated from the Phoenician language, and then somehow it went towards the Greek language as the letter Kaf, then turns into the Kappa or the K. But how about in marriage? In marriage, the king takes a queen or a fake woman. Kind of a strange little twist there.
Womb, man.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, in many cases, we see these kings are marrying queens, or maybe it's just an arrangement. It's kind of like what we call a beard. Somehow we're trying to hide the king. He's not really significant, but really, in essence, we're hiding the queen behind the king, because really the queen is behind it all. The queen is not necessarily a female, is what we're saying.
Yeah, and that ties in with what I said to you earlier on before we went live, or before we started recording, that if a sitting monarch is a female and marries, then her husband is not a king, he's a consort or a prince. But if a
Yeah.
sitting king marries, then his wife becomes the queen. So it's a weird inversion.
Yeah. And again, I think that's almost set up that way to hide and make the importance of the king to put the spotlight away from the queen.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Just like a lot of people say the vice president is in more power than the president.
Yeah.
And it just looks like the president is. But in this case, we're talking about the male versus female. But in reality, it's not really the female that we're focusing on. We're talking about the hermaphroditic androgyne.
Yep.
And this androgyne is taking on the king as the beard, so to speak. So there's a lot of acting that's going on here. Okay, it's all a big facade, and it's all about joining. You're going to put two together. There's an act. There's a performance going on. The mask is on, and you're going to wait for the act that happens on cue. Again, that's a play on words.
Yeah.
But we know that the cue is also known as a beast's tail, if you look at all the definitions, and that's where we end up getting the terminology for standing in line. But this is a different beast that we're talking about. We're talking about the androgyne beast.
Yeah.
The he queen is actually in control of the puppet king throughout his or her history, right? Mm. So let's look at it. The angle. What angle are we grabbing at? We're grabbing at the angels are binary. We talked about the 0-1 and the 1-0 when we talked about in the past about Satan. Can you say 10?
Say 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we already know that they talk about Satan as being a fallen angel. Mm-hmm. So he's the 0-1 or the 1-0. He's that binary. And when I say bi, I'm talking bi. You know?
Yeah.
So the counterfeits have longed to appear real. Even in the real recording, the false steps express superiority. We talk about the real, the people behind, in front of the camera, right?
Yeah.
Because they're performing. The Yahoos have dominated the eras of all ruling classes, from kings to presidents to prime ministers. So let's look at where these Yehudans have really kind of taken hold of. It's three of a kind. We have the queens, the Bloody Mary. We have the president's wife, the first lady, Barbara Bush. And then she really didn't have a king to hide behind, but no. Margaret Thatcher, she alone was called. What was she called?
The Iron Lady.
Iron Lady. So, but look at them. Do you see really a womanly beauty in any of these?
No.
So what I'm talking about is they can have some feminine qualities, just like a lot of artistic depictions. And I should have put one of these in there. A lot of artistic depictions of angels are feminine looking faces, but with the body of like an Adonis, very strong, masculine, muscular body, but a feminine face. In this case, you don't have much.
I only just thought.
So then we can look at the word drag.
I've only just thought about it, Harry.
And the definitions here, you can read all of it, but I kind of put three right in the purple. Again, I'm using purple to signify the royal color. Drag, the moving of a body, something that you drag across the ground. Drag, women's clothing on a man. And then the other drag is a drag race, moving in a straight line from point A to point B as fast as you can to finish. So if you can, you can stop the video and you can read on some of the other definitions. Well, the drag then brings us to another word that sounds a lot like it, and that's dragon. And a dragon is a fabulous animal, common to the conceptions of many races and people. And then again, you can read on. It's a Greek word, drakon. It can mean serpent, giant, sea creature, reptilian. It also can mean to see or be seen, and it also can mean light, which you talked about yesterday, and it can also mean clear. So dragon can mean a lot of things, and you touched on something off before we started recording, that someone else can be considered a dragon.
Yeah, the wife.
Nice.
I'm going home to see the dragon.
I think I lost Knives for a second. Maybe he'll come back. But we'll continue on. And we look at a group called the Queen, or actually Queen. And I titled this one Queen Bean BC. One of my favorite bands from the 70s and 80s. The band may have known or maybe didn't know what they really were, but the dragon on their logo of this album speaks volumes. The Queen is a dragon. Strongest color right here. The color purple was an exclusive color for just the royal nobility. We know that the color purple was hard to harvest, so it was very expensive. So not the commoner, he would never wear purple. And if a commoner ever did, they would have to somehow prove they had royal blood, or they would face the consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
What pieces of shit these people were to tell others that you can't wear purple because you're not royal like me.
My audio seemed to drop out there for a minute, Harry. Just more gremlins. But what I was saying, or what you asked me about the dragon, is, it's also a derogatory term for the wife.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I was going to mention is, can you just scroll back up to the Margaret Thatcher
Yes.
picture? Now, guys, I did a PPT on this a long time ago, before the first channel got taken down. But if you go and do a search online for the wife of President Roosevelt, the wife of Winston Churchill, and many others, what was his name? Ceausescu, the guy from Romania, and just have a look at the photograph of their wives, their quote unquote wives. You will be absolutely astounded, I promise you. So sorry about that, bro. Please continue.
No, I think you make a great point, because a lot of world leaders' wives, they have had, mates that weren't the best looking. Again, and I'm not one to judge on looks, but things are what they are. So we'll go to the next slide. A transformation of a queen. So we're talking about the band now. And, if I were to kind of give titles to these types of album covers, I'd say these many faces of the Queen go from We Rock to Notice a Rainbow, and then finally Peekaboo, 9 Eye Candy. Well, You
So
know,
those,
they look like a really, really rough band from Britain to start off. And then you sneak in the rainbow sweater.
mhm.
And then
Well,
finally,
it's interesting that the lead singer, Freddie Mercury, ties in with
mhm,
what we were talking about yesterday. Mercury
yeah,
being Hermes, being Venus, being the evening star. And when you said the nine eye candy, there's nine. That, you want to call them buttons? I'm not sure, but there's nine of them on his, or at least nine that are visible on that red outfit.
yeah. And then there's nothing masculine about how he's transformed near the end. But again, we're not looking at sexuality here. We're talking about what is the essence of some of these people.
Mm.
So we'll move on. So anyone up for a little game of, and again, I'm talking about the game because this is where we are. We're being played. You know, we're characters on a board or in a deck of cards. And in this case, we did talk about the Jack in the video about Jack shit. Remember that one we
Yeah.
did a few weeks ago? And so we did talk about the Jack and its significance. And there is a correlation between Jack, the name Jacob, and we're going to talk about when the king is caught in chess, we say checkmate. Now the word check, and I didn't include it in the presentation, it just got too long, and I don't want to be too long-winded, but the word check by itself originates from the name Jack.
Wow.
And the word mate comes from the Latin mata, and that means to kill Jacob.
Wow.
Which is the king, to kill the king. So let's just move on. Oh, by the way, the heart picture that I included, it is a drawing that I created and included in the PPT.
There's one thing that's always confused me. I don't know if anybody can shed any light on this, but why was, we're bombarded in old movies and so on and so forth with, phrases like the king is dead, long live the king. How can the king be long lived if the king is dead? It's an oxymoron. The king is dead, long live the king. Don't know.
Yeah, that's true. So we talked about the Jack a few weeks ago, like I said, and recall, Jack was second, possibly behind the queen. Looking at the game of chess, the queen was not even originally a queen, but just an advisor. And as the game progressed from India to other parts of the world, the understanding was that the person standing next to the king might have been his wife, but it wasn't. It was supposedly his advisor, his strategist.
Okay.
But somehow again, I don't know how real the story is. Was it a mistake in the 1600s that they decided to say, well, it wasn't the weak king and his advisor standing next to each other, but it was the queen. I don't know if it was a mistake or not. I think they're just trying to, again, hide the importance of the queen versus the king, because really the king has no power. He is just the front man. He's the one that everyone focuses on.
I think I would have to say it's not a mistake. My inner blink is telling me it's not a mistake. No, it's all by design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then next to, and the last picture on the bottom is the hierarchy of this dissension order. Is the queen sacrificing the cross of the king? Because the king has a cross on his crown. The queen is actually put in place number 1 in this list.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting. So, but why a queen? Well, mind you, Hive got the answer.
Mind you. I like that.
So, is Isis something bugging you?
Can we just just mention where you got this screenshot from, Harry, because it's a very, very important video that
Yes.
I it's the Crater Earth guy, God Gam last. It's an unpronounceable name, but he did an excellent video. I'll try and find it and link it below, but I quite often forget. If I do forget, I'll remind me and I'll pin it in the comments.
It's called Portal Parasite Portal or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's about 2 years old. And he goes into explaining how we have definitely been infiltrated by a parasitic entity. And the closest you can come to describing what this entity is insects. Because prior to this infiltration, humans and other animals don't even demonstrate this, never formed armies, never attacked other people, never stole their stuff, and never took it back to their queen. Insects are the only creatures that do this. And not only that, but the parasitic insects do create a mind control over their host for many purposes. And usually it's to procreate. We
Well,
saw
all of this connects to our copy and paste video. The idea that this whole realm was copied, pasted in order for us to be created as some kind of slaves that we can be fed off and fed from, in order to serve the so-called hierarchy.
Well, the hive mind is created in many ways, and we see that mostly in watching TV.
Yeah.
In the past, let's say if you just go back 60 or 70 years, when you would go to work and you talk to a colleague, you would say, "Hey, what'd you do last night?" And everyone did something different. But since the TV became so much more available, everyone goes to the water cooler or the coffee pot, and they all talk about what they did, and it's almost all they did the same thing.
Well, there's a big clue in the word. I mean, if you look at the word program, when it refers to a computer, it's program, program. But if you look at the TV program, the word ends with double M-E. So you can actually break that down into program me.
Me. Mm-hmm. Right. So on this slide, I show the black ant and how it attacks the white ant. We see Isis with the sun in her horns. Isis is really the queen. And in the bottom picture, we see how all three are very similar. They're almost identical. So how are we showing this parasite? They live in colonies. They're controlled with the hive mind, the mind control. Kill with the troops in the armies. They return the spoils to the queen, and the queen has full control of the colony because the Q mind control, the queen's mind control, is what government really means.
Yeah.
So there's the hive. The hive is where the bees hang out. Oh, it's also the apartment complex. We're in a zoo.
Yeah.
We didn't used to live like this.
No.
The queen has the ability to make her drones do exactly what she wants. They do her dirty work. These soldiers here are going to form a protective layer and go and attack their prey. And then everything comes back to her. They're going to go and they're hypnotized. They're going to go out, do the murdering, and bring back her spoils. The only place we see this type is in this world of insects. And now, being in control by these parasites, humanity has begun doing the same things. We are the drones to these parasites. We just got to identify who they are.
Yeah.
And I hope I was able to do that by kind of drawing this outline.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's definitely a connection to what we were talking about yesterday with the fallen, you know, and I saw something this morning. I'll try. It's an old video. I'll try and find it. It's only 4 minutes long. I'll try and find it and link it. Where this guy is talking about, you know, the God, the Lucifer, the Jesus, the Satan. They're all representations of us, our emotions, our feelings, our makeup. Like you said yesterday, Harry, you have the devil and the
Yeah.
angel. You have the reference to
And
God and Lucifer. Yeah, the two halves of the brain, God and Lucifer, and the Jesus and Satan. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. The Jesus and the Satan is the God and the Lucifer, but we've all been ingrained since day one, you know, and it goes back a long, long time to believe, and don't forget, BELIE, be lie, believe, that God is an omnipotent entity, one entity. And that's what we've been taught. And it's very, very difficult for people to get their head around the idea that that is not what God is. It's just a name for a fictitious entity. The Jesus character, know ye not, ye are gods. We talk about the Christ consciousness. We talk about the return of the Christ, which is the return of the Christ consciousness. When we put that into context and we look at the Jesus figure being just a truther, um, and there were, you know, loads and loads of them, then the representation of the return of the Christ is the return of the Christ consciousness, which is us guys waking up and realizing that everything we've ever been taught isn't what we've been taught at all. Um, so you have the Lucifer, which is the, as we, I'm not going to go through it again, but what we talked about yesterday, um, which is the God connection, and then you've got the Jesus and the Satan. So it's almost like you have the God and the Lucifer being at the top, and the president and the vice president is the Jesus and Satan, because it actually represents the same thing. Yeah. God and Lucifer, Jesus and Satan, it's the same thing with a different name. It's the left and right brain. It's the ego. Um, it's the spiritual side versus our materialistic side. This is the duality of this realm. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You can't unring the bell.
it's the two-party system
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
our reality.
Yeah.
And I just want to just touch back on the presentation I was going to do. It was going to be farther along with the chess, because look, we are in a game. We're on the board. We're characters. We're being manipulated. We're being manipulated. I didn't go on because what I really found in doing the research about the chess was there was a lot of contradictions. You know, some people said that this game was played like this and it came from here and then it went through there. It was just so much, but there are so many hidden things that we'd never hear about. Like, for example, the pawn. We always thought the pawn was just a little soldier, but there were 6 or 7 different kinds of pawns originally in the game. Mm. And the game went through a lot of changes throughout the years. So anyone who cares to look at that, they can. But the one thing that the basic tenet that I wanted to bring was that we are characters in this game. Yep. And the more we listen to the mass media and the TV, the radio, even the movies and the songs that penetrate our heads, that is where the hive has taken control. Yeah. We have to make sure that we do not fall into the trap, the snare, and turn us upside down and bring us to this place where we start believing and not knowing. And so the focus is on showing you card games, table games. We're all part of that. Whether it's a virtual reality game, it's all the same. We have to break that hive mentality.
Yeah. Well, you've got, everything that we see, like I just talked about the God and Lucifer, Jesus, Satan. It's the same thing, just in a different name. It's the duality. It's the black and white checkered floorboard. It's the duality
Mhm.
again, right? There's
Yeah.
nothing evil about the duality. It just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
um, you have to learn to live with it. If it's raining and you don't want to get wet, take an umbrella. You can't
Yeah.
stop it from raining. You just have to recognize that it's raining, and that if you don't take an umbrella, you're going to get wet. So we need to recognize that this realm, everything in this realm, is based on duality. The
Mhm.
what we refer to as being good and evil. But even that is down to perception. Um, you might you might do something that I would say that's evil, but you don't perceive it as being evil, but it
It's
still
all percent.
exists. It's all
Yeah.
about perception. Yeah,
Perception.
all about
And
perception.
and it all really just stems back to the original version. What it was a friendly game.
Mm.
This copy, not so friendly.
No,
The
I mean,
intent the intent of the original was to educate, was to prepare, to further along. This is a different game.
absolutely.
There's an evil part of this game, and it's kind of a manipulation. So
Well, how many times have we heard people say that the playing field is not level, right? This game is rigged, or they're attempting
it's
to rig
stats.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
The odds are stacked against us. It's not a fair game, whereas the original round, which you just said, was. I mean, look at the purple that you were talking about in the presentation. It's red and blue. What are most of the flags? Red, white, and blue.
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
are the political parties? Red and blue. Yeah,
Mhm.
you mix them together, you get the purple, which is the the
Yeah.
crown, the crown.
Yeah.
So. All right, bro. Well, look, we've been going on for longer than half an hour, so I want to try and keep these videos as close to half an hour as we can.
Right.
Otherwise, people tend to look at the timestamp and go, "Oh, wow!" Somebody in the in yesterday's video made a comment about a particular channel. I forget what it was, and I went there, and this dude's got videos that are 5, 6, 8 hours, 7 hours, and I'm like, no, no, can't do it. So, I mean, I will take a look, but you know. Um, so right, that's it for this week. We will be back with the next one very soon. So once again, guys, welcome to all the new subs. Thanks for being here. Keep up the comments, guys, because you are making us think.
Oh,
200 comments yesterday.
and don't forget, link your new email associated with Devil's Playground because it wasn't on the last video,
Right.
and I will create one too, and we can link both of those so we can get any comments that any questions that the subs want that they maybe not want others to see.
Yeah, I'll put the email in. It's just the devil's playground 2@protonmail.com. I'll put a link in the show notes. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for putting up with our drivel. We love you all, and we will see you all very, very soon. Take care.
All right. Thank you.